How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? The golden age of dance music. We're going to look back to those days when one of the big attractions on sound radio was the late-night dance music spot. Every night from 10:30 to midnight, a famous band relayed from a restaurant or a hotel. In those days, dance band leaders were legendary figures, and we've got 4 of them here with us tonight. We've got your little Hochemachacha Harry Roy, Jack Payne with the BBC for years with his dance band, Nat Gonella, remember his Georgians, and Roy Fox, who used to play that whispering trumpet. We're going to play some records, some bits of records, some of those old-fashioned 78 revolutions per minute, breakable, heavy ones, and see how quickly these 4 can recognize the familiar to them strains of their colleagues, the bands of those days. Perhaps you'll like to try and see how quickly you can recognize them too. Here's the first one. A lot of competition for that. I think they've all got it. Nat Gonella made signs first. Who is it now?
Bluestone.
Wrong. Harry.
Harry Roy.
Wrong.
No.
Is it not Bluestone? No.
I thought it was Lou's band. I don't know then, in that case.
All right.
It must be,
Can you have another guess?
it
course,
must be either
please,
Roy Fox or Ray Noble.
No. A northern gentleman conducting. Northern gentleman, yes. Began as an MD with a touring pantomime with it when he was 17. Come on, somebody's got to get it in a minute.
Well, not Jack.
Jack Hilton. Jack Hilton.
Was that Jack Hilton's
That was Jack Hilton's band.
No,
must have
made a
graciously.
mistake. Sure you made a mistake.
Recorded in
Okay.
1933. Lazy Bones, tuned by Hoagie Carmichael and Johnny
I know.
Mercer.
No, he had a
Jack
band
Hilton
that
plays so
sounded
good.
like that. Very, very good.
Very
indeed.
good for Jack Hilton. wasn't it?
Sound great.
I think it's too good.
What's it?
You can break that record.
Very, very good.
Good job, poor old Jack.
We
can't
got it,
hear us talking
competition,
about it.
Yes.
I'll bet you.
Yes. It was a great show band.
Yes, it was.
He was, in a way, the daddy of them all, wasn't he?
Oh, yes. Yes, oh,
I
Jack.
used to like the scenery on the stage when he used to fall down.
But they used to do all the routine business, the unison singing and the unison movement.
Oh, yeah.
right, yeah.
That's
Oh, we all had to do that on the stage.
Would I have time just to tell just a short story before we go on with the next record about Jack Hilton?
Sure, right.
Before I came to this country, I was in Hollywood. I was at Fox Films, supervising music there, and I just got this new radio, and I went home one evening and I heard a record. I used to listen into records a great deal at that time, and I heard a band that I thought, well, it was unfamiliar, but it sounded really terrific. So they're playing a tune called "I Kiss Your Hand, Madame." So I couldn't wait until they made the announcement to see who this wonderful band was, and they said it's an English band, Jack Hilton. So when I came over to this country, and I think Jack was about the first person I met in this country when I was at the Cafe de Paris. He came in and introduced himself. I went out to see a stage show, and he had this same tune in his show at that time, and I thought it was one of the most wonderful records that I'd ever heard up until that time.
Actually, he brought that back from the continent, one of his continental tours. He had it on the continent and brought it back, and he was the first to play it over here.
Oh,
It was a very big
wonderful.
hit on the continent. at
It
that
was
time.
really wonderful.
He did a lot of touring on the continent. didn't
Oh,
he?
yes. Oh, he had houses in the bank on the continent, didn't he?
Terrific.
Well, we all
Great.
did in those days.
Yeah. Let's hear another one. See if we can get this. Right. Anybody got it?
It isn't the Havana Band by any chance, is it?
No, no.
No, I reckon that could be Lou Stone again, or Roy Fox.
Well, I
'Cause
think,
it was Harry Burley definitely playing the tenor saxophone.
I
Right.
think it's my band, but
Yeah, it could be bad enough for you, Harry.
Not that bad, surely.
No.
That was good.
I want you to smoke well of you, you know that.
No,
Not now, though.
not on this program. you see.
Not Harry Roy. Who do you think it is?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Recorded January 1935. And the title? Anybody know the title?
No
Embassy
idea.
Stomp.
Embassy Stomp.
On this disc, right, apart from the leader, Sid Phillips is on it, Danny Polo, Ted Heath,
Ambrose.
Ambrose.
Ambrose. Ambrose, right.
Really didn't sound a bit like Ambrose.
Didn't
It
sound
doesn't
like
sound like that at all.
Because they're misleading us with the kind of music, you see.
You're not
Yeah,
messing
but-
about, you know. You can't mess us about. It's all right with Jack Payne, but not with Nat Gonella.
I don't think Burton was known so well for that type of music. I
No, he
think
wasn't,
was
no.
more of a melodious style.
Yes.
Mm.
It was
Beautiful
written and
band.
arranged by Bert Burns, his piano player.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Ah, that's
Good
why
lad.
we're
Now I understand.
slightly foolish. I
Well,
think, yeah.
before.
Sounded like a Casa Loma number, didn't it?
Mm. Yeah.
How much were recording bands augmented in the recording studios? Would that have been the band, Ambrose's band, as it played
Yes,
in the
definitely.
Mayfair?
In those days, there was no unless
Yeah, might be
we
one or
were not
two.
allowed to take anyone else's. At least we're not supposed to,
No.
unless one rang up the other band leader and said, "Look, my trumpet player's gone sick or something. Can I borrow your fellow or what have you?"
And the boys
They were
always
all the
got sick
actual
then.
bands. There was no such thing as sessions in those session boys in those days.
Was there much poaching of that sort? I mean,
Oh, well, there was always a bit of poaching.
Always
oh,
been
yes.
poaching, yes.
Always big poaching, yes.
I don't
Well,
think
all
there
that-
was so much poaching. I think it's a matter of, for instance, if I were going to record something and I wanted to make what we were known as concert records,
Yeah.
an arrangement at that time, you might add a fiddle section to the band, but they weren't from someone else's band. They were boys that you might take that were doing.
sessionaire.
Session, yeah, I suppose, to a certain extent, but they were generally violins, I believe, rather than brass, because you had your own brass and all
Yeah.
that. You just add a string section to your band just to build it up a bit.
Sometimes in a photograph taken in a recording studio, you'll see musicians holding up a piece of sheet music or the bell of a trombone or something, just in case. Perhaps they shouldn't do that.
I've never seen that.
In the case they shouldn't be there, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the
Sure.
score, boy?
Oh, I don't think
2
we'll
to you,
score
is
this,
it?
shall we?
We're not doing very well.
Try this one. Roy, any ideas?
No, well, I would have thought that was Hilton, but obviously I'd say Henry Hall.
No, Jack Hilton.
Jack Hilton?
Jack Hilton?
Not Jack Hilton.
Well, I thought it was
No,
Hilton.
Nat?
I
I was going to say Jack Hilton.
Harry.
Couldn't think of anybody else.
He was
at
the
moment.
first to play that tune, I can assure you.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Beatles to me.
Oh,
I
it's
mind you, well, before the Beatles.
Jolly Jack Payne, in person.
Oh,
Your own
no.
record.
Well, I thought it was Jack Hilton or Jack Payne, but with Jack being over there, I dared say it.
I thought it was
Did
Henry
I
Hall as
record
well.
that number? I don't even remember.
Oh, yes, of
course you
Because
did,
it was the
yeah.
great Jack Hilton number. He did that on
That's
the
it, absolutely, yes.
With the horses.
With the horses,
Yeah.
no, yes, outside.
And all the kings and queens.
You did that very well, Jack. It entered my mind, but I thought you might have been rolling on the floor when you heard your own record. And nothing happened.
You look very confident about it. You put up your hand. Yes,
Well, I was so
know.
sure it was Jack Hilton. That's why.
He said, "Oh, this is easy."
One of the early ones. When
The
you
intonation, I think, was very much the same in those days. Jack's band and my band, very much
Have
the
you got
same.
it
We
was.
weren't
Oh, yes.
distinguished like the Harry Roy, you see, with clarinets and things. And
That's right.
You right.
You had a daily session, didn't you, from 5:15 to 6 o'clock?
Yes, every day.
Round about that. I mean, I remember it used to interfere with my homework.
I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
And one thing I didn't know for years, Jack, you used to do those comedy numbers like Sergeant Flag and Sergeant Quirt. I didn't know for years that you did all the voices, all 14 voices, however many.
No, not all of them, no.
Didn't you?
No, Bob Busby had helped me, and Jess Fuller. Well, a lot of the boys used to sort of muck in on the different noises and peculiar rows we made, you know.
Yes.
No, I didn't do them all myself. Some of them, not all of them.
What about arrangements? In the main, were all the arrangements done by your own chaps, or a lot of them supplied by publishers and
Our own arrangers. I
composers?
had my own arrangers. Ray Noble was one of my arrangers, of course. And Tony Lowry.
Yes.
And, no, I always used my own arrangers.
Were there many opportunities for jam sessions? Could you do that sort of thing in a hotel job, Harry?
Well, in our place, we just used to give the big band the rest, and I used to play with the 2 pianos, bass and drums, guitar.
Tiger Ragamuffins. Try this one for size. See if you can recognize this record. Anybody?
Boris Willie.
No,
Now, Carol Gibbons.
not Carol Gibbons.
I thought it was Morris Winnick. On account of the saxophones. I thought
Yeah,
it was
it could be
that
one.
Lombardo style.
Must be Sidney Lipton
Right.
with the big feet.
Sid Lipton.
Sid Lipton still going strong.
Jolly good.
That's one for our side. Thank you, Harry.
Jolly
good.
good. Bit in, yeah, sit down here, yeah.
1937 recording. Know the tune?
Yes,
There's something in the air.
Something in the Air.
Oh, yeah.
From the film Banjo on My Knee, 1937, starring Joel McRae and Barbara Stanwyck. Sidney has a very talented daughter, Celia. She's starred
Yeah,
in a
Celia
number of
Davis.
shows.
Lipton.
she's well married now. She's in America.
Is she?
Celia Lipton.
And Sidney Lipton's still going strong. He's still at the Dorchester, isn't he? Or is
Yes.
he Grosvenor House?
Grosvenor House.
Grosvenor
Yes.
House.
All right, try this one. Tiger Rag, you ought to have first guess, Harry.
He's got no idea. It's not his band.
I don't think it's mine.
No, it's not your
It
band.
isn't
no.
yours, no.
It's, that sounds like Joe Grossman playing a clarinet. And I would say it's either, I think it's Lou Stone, but it might be Ray Noble. And I think it's Nat Gonella playing a trumpet on there. You got a rough idea?
It says it's Nat Gonella. Any idea of the year?
35, 6.
Earlier, 34.
34.
Lou Stone's band, Tiger Rag, you featured on trumpet.
I'm sorry, yes, I should have said 34. Yes,
Of course you should.
because I started my own band 35.
You didn't get it right?
I thought it might have been Billy Cotton when Nat was originally.
Oh, they never played like that.
Was that?
Oh, yeah, we did. We played
Why?
it.
I
Oh,
thought
when you
so.
were in it,
I
yeah.
used to play the same sort of rubbish.
1920
Yeah.
when you used to play with it, yes.
I thought it
Different.
could have
Bloody
been.
well.
Yeah. 1925.
That was before you joined the original Dixieland Jazz Band.
Oh, yes, it happens with
Yeah,
Barry.
everybody thinks funny enough, everybody thinks I wrote Tiger Rag. Wish I did. I wouldn't be here. I had turned my nose up.
You still would have it on the dance.
I'd be in 90B. Worse.
Gosh, don't mention that.
Here's a rather different sort of noise. See if you can get this. puzzlement I see
Oh,
all
yes,
around.
it's hard.
Yes, this is very difficult.
It's a hard one. It's not Bacardi, is it?
No.
Macaroni, isn't it?
It's probably a Prager, is it?
Did the
No.
did the violinist, did the leader play the violin?
No.
Is he very well known today?
No, he's no longer with us.
Oh, well, it's not who I did.
I
And-
thought it could have been Mantovani.
Yes, me too.
No, not
Gerardo.
No. No, it was recorded in 1937. Anybody know the tune?
No,
I don't know the tune. That might have helped.
Oh my goodness, from Shirley Temple's film Poor Little Rich Girl.
That's probably.
Sorry you missed that one. That was in 1937, and the band was formed originally as a recording band in 1931. And the gentleman who ran it didn't use his own name. Are we getting near it now?
Oh, yes.
Nat?
No, I've got no idea who
Sure
it
it
is,
wasn't
but...
Gerardo. Because she haven't cigar about it, or something. Some year.
Yes. No, this is Primo Scala in his accordion band. And
Oh.
you know who Primo Scala was? It was Harry Bidgood.
Oh, yes.
And he
Ah,
took
yes.
the name from Primo Carnera, the
Yeah.
prize fighter,
Yes.
and an Irish sweep winner, an Italian gentleman named Scala.
Oh,
It
yes.
seemed topical in 1931, and he had his accordion band for many years, as you know,
Oh, yes.
on the halls and on records.
Not really my line, accordions.
No?
Afraid not.
That was a little difficult, I think, for us because we weren't so familiar with that type of music. You know.
Oh, he was very well known, though. in those
Indeed.
days.
Oh, he
On
was
the air
well
an awful
known.
lot.
Yes, but I don't think we were associated with that type of a tune that he played so
Yeah,
much there.
right.
You know?
Or perhaps you
Actually-
didn't go to Shirley Temple movies.
Maybe that's it.
I think it's before your time, wasn't it? Shirley Temple?
Only just.
Try this one. First guess.
I haven't a clue.
Who's that fellow
I'll
who
take a
thought
chance.
that?
I'll say it's my band.
Do you think it's his band?
A bit reminiscent, probably. No, I would have thought, but it might be Jack Jackson.
I think it's Jack Payne.
The reason I say my band, I think that I can hear the vocal coming up, and if it was my band, it would have been Sid Buckman.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It was your band, Roy.
Oh, well done, Roy. Yeah.
Oh, success!
Well done.
Fame at last.
Bravo. And the tune?
So long ago, I forget this. Something about
Yeah.
the hat on the top of my head or something.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Jack Hulbert sang it in a film called Jack Ahoy in 1933. My hat's on the side of my head.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
That must have been one of the first recordings with the old baritone sax in it, wasn't it?
That's right.
Who played the baritone sax?
Rex Owen.
Oh, yes, I know.
Rex Owen.
Oh, Rex Owen.
That's right.
He used to play for me.
Rex
for
Owen.
You transferred him.
Jack Bigston.
What was it? 20,000, wasn't it?
You lost him in a poker game, remember?
Berkeley game. I think I lost a lot of things at Berkeley game.
Roy, you talked about the fact that vocalist was just coming up. How important were vocalists? Were these, in those days, were vocalists big features with the bands?
Well, I think the vocalists, as I remember them, were much more important in Hollywood, in the States, before I came over here, because but people like Crosby and different vocalists. When I was working at a place called the Coconut Grove, we had singers there that were very, very important to the band. When I came over here, Al Bowley, we found Al Bowley, and he was so popular with the band that in the first place, you probably know, the vocalist didn't get much credit on recordings because it was a certain band with a vocal
With
refrain,
vocal chorus.
or whatever it was. And then finally they started entering their names on the labels, and they became more and more popular all the time.
I would have thought, butting in if I may, I would have thought vocalists were quite important in those days. They helped to sell, if they were good vocalists and they became popular, They helped to sell the gramophone record, I think.
Oh, I agree with you.
I mean, Al
Jack.
Burley must have sold, with respect to you,
Yeah.
Roy, he must have sold an awful lot of records for you.
No doubt about it, because, well,
And Scott Coomer with
Yeah.
me, and your vocalist. I think there's...
That was me.
You, yes, you. Your voice sold...
Nobody liked my voice, but
Your
sold
voice
records.
probably sold more records than clarinet playing.
You pinched my stuff. When you're younger than me, you must have done.
In the main,
knew
the
I was
vocalist was
wrong.
paid more than an instrumentalist, or about the same?
I
more,
would
actually,
say
wouldn't he?
probably a little more,
yeah.
because a lot of them also played the instrument as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Al Burley played guitar, didn't he?
That's right, yes. But I think the vocalists were very important, and that's why we used to form groups in the band. It used to be Nat and Al Bowley and Sid Buckman and
Joe Ferry.
Yeah.
and Joe Ferry. We used to,
Yeah.
we used to specialize with vocals as much as we
And
possibly
Nat
could.
used to sing, too.
Nat,
Well,
well,
Nat,
on
don't
his
forget
own,
about
yes,
that.
I know. But I'm saying we
I
used
used
all
to
the
like it,
vocals we
Ken.
possibly could,
Aye.
within the band.
Mm-hmm.
Most important.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I would say that Nat singing at Georgia, for instance, was a
Wow.
terrific asset to the record.
Well,
Well,
that's
you and
quite
I
so.
did
It,
double
it
that,
wasn't on
right?
account of the band recording, the band recording. It was on account of Nat's
Yes, well.
individual style.
Yeah. Mm.
That's why it finally became his own signature tune.
That's quite right.
Oh yes, it was
Georgia.
Nat was strictly responsible for Georgia with the band, no doubt about it.
Good, here's another one.
What
to
about
guess.
El Mona?
Can you guarantee we're going to get
Oh,
this
no,
one
there's loose there.
for a change?
Try.
I know why I've waited so long, and I know why I've been through. When I get down on my knees and pray, Lord, not somebody like you. Oh,
Harry?
The famous idea.
Well, Normie.
Very nice tenor saxophone player.
Very nice
He was
tenor
playing
saxophone.
very much like Coleman Hawkins.
No, Rudy Valley, no?
No, Coleman Hawkins. And this vocal
Yes.
thing is a copy on the Glenn Miller band, isn't it?
If you'd listened carefully to that vocal, you would have heard a dialect that would have given you a clue.
that someday I might fall for someone like you, my baby. Exactly like you.
Something like you.
No.
I know we
Roy.
made a record of it, but I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of the name. Was it a trumpet player? Was Teddy someone?
No.
Teddy Foster.
Teddy Foster.
No.
Ken
No.
Johnson and his West Indian dance orchestra.
Oh,
yes.
Snake Hips Johnson.
Yes.
And that was a 1938 recording.
Oh,
He was killed, if you remember, when the Cafe de Paris was bombed.
yes.
That's right.
Yes,
Mm.
same night as Al Burley was killed.
Yeah.
Was it?
Same string of bombs, yeah.
My wife and I were there the night before. We were sitting right on the balcony, just where the bomb came in from the cinema, across the balcony, right across the table we'd been sitting on.
But the
night, previous
Alto?
night. Yeah, through the Rialto
It's
cinema.
funny, where Al Burley was killed, when I was a bachelor, I used to live there. Very cool.
Yeah,
German
opposite
Street.
Dunhill, wasn't it?
Yeah, German Street.
Yeah,
Same
German
side,
Street, yeah.
yep.
As a matter of fact,
The first bomb killed Snake Hips Johnson, and the second one killed Al Burley. It was
It was
rather...
the same stick of bombs.
Was, yes.
We were broadcasting that night from the Paris cinema. It was a nasty, noisy night, I remember.
Yes, it was.
Horrible.
We played at Cafe Anglais.
that recording, I think, was an excellent. Had a terrific beat.
Was very
and
good, very
nice.
good.
The tenor was
The
marvelous.
tenor was very nice.
That was a great band, don't worry.
Yes, he was,
Very-
he was definitely like Coleman Hawkins.
It's a
that
very,
tenor.
who was that great clarinet player, this band?
Carl Barrington.
Carl Barrett, great tenor.
Very good.
Very good.
The group, the singing
was-
group there was very good too. It was very
Well rehearsed.
Nice band.
Very well rehearsed.
Nice band. That.
Well, let's see if the next band carries on such a good tradition. Let's listen to this.
It's loose stone, isn't it? Isn't
No,
it?
it
It's Ray
isn't.
Noble, then.
It isn't Ray Noble.
No,
Well,
I didn't think so.
Well,
I'm
just
sure-
pianos play that introduction.
Well, I'm on that
isn't it?
record, I think.
Is that mine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I said to you, Harry, is that yours? And you said no, you silly
No, I
old
did.
sausage.
I said,
Well, when we heard the two
Oh, you
pianos, I thought
did?
it might have
Yeah,
been.
well, I was right.
I don't
You
know the
nodded your
title.
head.
Everybody know the title?
Yes, indeed.
No.
No.
Jack.
No
No idea.
No, no idea. Title.
No
No
idea.
idea.
Fare thee well,
No.
Fare thee well, Annabelle, from a Rudy Valley film called
Oh,
Sweet
God.
Music.
No.
And that was in your Mayfair Hotel days. Eh?
Yep.
You started with your brother, didn't you?
Yeah.
In his band.
Sid Roy's Littles, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was a dancer too.
Were you? I didn't know that. And a singer.
Yeah.
Because you took your band to South America in the
Yeah,
30s. That must have been
1938.
a project.
Very nice. It was lovely. Wish I'd have stayed there when the war started. You mind and scratch my own ear hole, can't I? Or Pit Matt and Jeff, you see. Aye.
The camera's on you.
So the camera's on me, so what? What do you want me to do?
Well,
Give her money?
Don't scratch your ear, then.
Well, what do you think I come here for? Most people think I'm not breathing.
Nat Temple was in the band at that time.
Nat Temple, yes.
Who else? Joe Daniel.
Ray Ellington,
Ray Ellington.
yeah, 1838. And Stanley Black.
Mm-hmm.
We
What
had
were
a
the
girl
two pianos?
Stanley Black on the piano, and Norman White.
Norman White.
Ray Ellington on drums. Arthur Galkin is with the Nitwits. A girl called Wendy Clare, was the first girl we had, and the last.
Right.
Women, I love them, but oh, in the band, oh.
Let's have another one. Something in contrast. Harry. Who was it?
I think it was Ambrose, playing the fiddle.
No.
Must be Sid Lipton, or
No.
Jack Jackson.
No. 1934.
34.
Tune called One Morning in May, Hoagie Carmichael.
Oh, one morning in May, yeah.
Who was it?
I thought it was going to be Ambrose, which it wasn't, obviously.
I knew the tune very well. Marianne Harris introduced me to
Well,
open
it
Gears
is.
of Capita Perry, but I don't know who the
Who would have
band
thought-
was.
Now, I had the string section, one fiddle player. I wish I'd have paid her not to play. You just kill all their numbers. He wanted to play. It's not here. You didn't have strings at all, did you? Except for...
What,
No.
are we
Oh,
allowed
yeah,
another year?
1934. Harry, it was you. It was you and your string
Your
section.
string section, yeah.
I thought it was a fiddle player, but it was too good for him.
And you paid for that, did you?
We used to play football, he broke his arm.
I wonder if
That's
our
very
records
funny.
made any
Yeah.
more impression on the public than they did on us. Don't even know
I
our
still
own
didn't
records.
remember. I know the time. Well, I did know the time after you told me, but... I had to phone him up afterwards. Rather, she weren't that bad after all. He used to beg of him not to play. He used to say, Morris, you don't want to play in this number, do you? He said, I've got a part there. Got introduction.
32 bars tacit. Who would like to talk about plug money? That was the great
Plug money.
controversial thing of the
Very noble art.
Very noble art.
Yes.
Was it true that after a late night broadcast, somebody used to go along Denmark Street with a suitcase collecting?
Well, not that time, but I know. But I know somebody...
It all depends who you were dealing
I
with.
know
should
somebody
think.
did play one chorus and made a
He had a
fortune. I won't mention that.
He had a
he can't
cash
be.
register, didn't he?
That's right, yeah.
He played
We
one
know.
chorus. And that's
Yes.
Well, we used to play the Mayfair for an hour and a half. We'd play 30 tunes, which in those days used to last around about 3 minutes. You know, like most of it was recorded. You know, we recorded the numbers about 3:20, wasn't it, Jack? In those days, 3:10, 3:20. But this person used to play about 100 numbers in an hour, didn't he? Hour and a half.
No, the record was 52 plugs in an hour. The same fella you're talking about. 52 plugs in an hour.
I thought it was more than that. If he's got
No.
an hour and
But
a
they
half,
used to
we
offer
played
the
30.
most
Oh, hour and a half. No, I'm talking about an hour.
No, he used to play one chorus.
Yes, but that was...
Which lasts a minute, right?
Yes, yes.
Hour and a half is, what, 90 minutes?
But I know he had 52
90
seconds
pounds.
now.
Some of the publishers used
Till the
to offer
BBC
them
found out a
fantastic
long time,
money.
about 3 years.
I remember on one occasion, I'm not being smug about this, but I didn't take plug money, rather stupidly as I found out after. I'd be far better off financially than I am now probably had I done it. But anyway, I gave a promise that I wouldn't, and I didn't. But I know for a positive fact there were band leaders, and I'm sure these gentlemen here will substantiate this, who were paid as much as 30 and 35 pounds a tune, you know.
Yes.
How many copies they had to sell to get the money back, I wouldn't know, but...
For a time, the BBC didn't allow vocals at all.
They still didn't allow it, but it still went on.
Well, I'll tell you why. Unless you work for the BBC, you could run a big band. Is it possible?
I think
mean,
in a
you
way,
have-
I'm going to slap the BBC down now, somewhat. They're great friends of mine, always have been, and I hope always will be. But it's their own fault, you know, because they paid such ridiculous money. And there were these fellows, us, with enormous
we used
bands
to
of
get-
25 and 30 and all that sort of thing. Or the minimum of them were, what, 16 or 17?
Well,
and they had to be paid
when we played the
somehow.
Mayfair, the Cafe Anglais, we started broadcasting. On Sunday afternoon, it's 3/4 an hour, you used to get £1
Yes.
for the boys.
Hmm.
We got fine arrangements for it, and also a night from Friday night 10:30 to 12. I think with all that rehearsal, and I think 30 numbers, 20 new ones every week, £3, I think. I don't think it was much of that. I think it was £2.
So without plug money, broadcasting was
You
hardly
couldn't
worth
run a
it.
band.
No, you
It's
couldn't.
impossible. Well, you couldn't get the money in the restaurant. Doesn't matter where it is, because they couldn't pay it unless you're working for a big combine.
I think we all broadcast once a week for many years. As far as I was concerned, every broadcast I ever did for the BBC cost me money in arrangements.
Yes.
And I made also a promise to the BBC with a certain gentleman at the time who knew that I hadn't been accepting plug money. And I used to turn down an average of £150 every broadcast. And it broke my heart to have to do it. But I wanted to be sort of the master of my own show, and which I was. And that's one of the main reasons I didn't, because I wanted to play what I wanted to play. And Nat was in the band at the time, and I think you'll remember, and it is a fact that I never accepted 1 penny plug money ever, and I turned down all this money when it was costing me money to broadcast through the money I was paid by the BBC. Sorry, Mr. BBC.
Well, now we're going to hear 3 pianists. Quite briefly, let's see if we can identify these. I don't know what that mysterious instrument was that he was playing apart from the Celeste and the piano.
It sounded like a harpsichord.
Could have been.
Might have been, I don't
Who
know.
was it? Playing his own tune?
Charlie Coons?
No.
No, it
No.
wasn't Charlie Coon. It wouldn't be Billy Mayo, would it?
That's what I was going to say.
It was,
Would
yes.
indeed.
With a school.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Billy Mayo school.
Billy Mayo and his claviers. A tune called Ace of Spades, recorded in 1938. Here's another pianist. Try this one. Any takers?
Well, I would have said it was Carol Gibbons. I don't know why.
Charlie Coons, isn't it?
Charlie Coons.
I know Charlie, yes.
Yep, no doubt about
We
that.
said Charlie Coons. What's it called then?
Harbour Lights.
Harbor Lights.
Harbour Lights.
Was it? Is it?
Tune of 1937. You
I remember because I
played it.
plugged that one.
No, they couldn't pay me. They couldn't pay me for that one. Not enough.
It was one of the few I got.
I
it
know
for.
we had a music company. I know we paid a certain person £50 for a plug.
I deny
Not a
it.
band, an artist, a lady artist.
I deny it.
Somebody else got £100.
Third pianist coming up. You seem better at pianist than you are at bands. Who's
Carol
that?
Carol
Gibbons.
Gibbons, eh?
Unanimous?
Yes.
Yes, I
Indeed.
think so.
Carol Gibbons.
You always tell Carol because he rolled his tents the other way round.
Yeah,
Well, you're a pianist. You
Yeah,
can't
don't
take
get Jack
advantage.
knows, you see. Jack plays the piano.
but he has a style of his own too. I mean, it's
Yes.
a very pleasant
Very.
style, Carol.
And on that photograph you saw Carol with his band. I wonder if you noticed George Merlocrino with the fiddle and Ann Lerner, his vocalist. Now we've come to our last record. Let's see how many of our visitors can guess this one. Well, puzzlement again, Harry? Jack.
Well, is it Jack Hilton or Jack Payne? I don't know.
Neither. No.
I have no
Tune
idea.
called
Someone of
I know, the Rolling Stones, when they're young people.
Yeah.
Augmented.
It's somebody who had a drummer and a timpani as well.
Yes.
Two.
Well, we had a drummer
one playing
and
timpani. No, but there was a timpani player and a drummer as
No,
well.
we had that.
So did I, but that's why I thought it was either.
Well, Roy had one. We used to play Timps, didn't
Yeah,
he?
we used to have Bill Hardy.
Bill Hardy.
Doing these Timps, but that's not my band.
Is it one of the Savoy bands?
No, Under the Double Eagle.
What about
Roy.
the Boy Summers?
No.
Yes, that's what I thought.
Ah.
He was at one time musical director for the London, Midland and Scottish Railway.
Oh.
Oh,
Henry
no,
Hall.
Henry Hall.
Henry Hall.
Henry
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought that was too good.
Henry Hall in his orchestra.
I was waiting for the oboe.
That is Henry
I'm
Hall.
waiting for that.
That was
Yes, very good.
Is Henry Hall.
How many of you four have got copies of their own records, your own records? How many have you got, Harry?
Well, I gave all mine away to the Red Cross during the war. I got about 10, I think.
You got any now?
I've got about 500-600, I think.
You've got practically a collection.
Well, half a collection because during the war and moving several times,
You
a lot of
sold
them,
some.
you know, those 78s, they do crash.
You sold some.
I
What
couldn't
about
sell
you?
them.
I only have part of my collection I give to my young son, Gary.
Jack, you got any?
I haven't one. I think we have two at home, but they don't belong to me. They were lent to me by a friend of mine.
Jack, where did the big band go? Was it economics more than public taste, or was it like the dinosaur, it couldn't adapt itself to new conditions? And could it ever come back?
Well, I'm hoping that it will come back. I'm doing a radio program now. It is quite surprising me the requests I'm getting for big band noises on gramophone records, which I'm very glad to see. The reason why they faded out, quite honestly, I think it was a case of economics, and I think here again, it was the BBC who found that the smaller groups could bring in the figures, the listening appreciation figures and all that sort of thing. You can't blame the BBC, really, for not spending a great deal of money on big bands if they can get the same results on the smaller outfits. I think that's where the rot, if I might put it that way, the rot started.
Harry, would you like to
Well,
start all
so-
over again?
Given my own way, yes. I'd love that, but there's too many obstacles. First of all, you're not a young man anymore. And you can't grow your hair long anymore.
I'm doing all
Well,
right.
you get a wig. I mean, it's easy. The girls wear wigs. Why can't we?
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Harry Roy, and Jack Payne,
Thank you.
and Nat Gonella,
Yep.
and Roy Fox for coming along and reminiscing with us about the golden days of British dance music. Good night, everyone.